Hello, greetings. This is going to be a Gorean topic. Now, one of the things I am constantly asked about when it comes to Gorean lifestyle is what is the natural order? And I would also say this is where most Goreans go wrong. Because, yeah, I might have a few things to say about this that are not that typical of people within this lifestyle. Now, what is the natural order? The natural order is something presented in the Gore books as the natural interaction between men and women, with men being dominant and women being submissive. It is sort of the basis of all that concept of male dominance and female slavery that the books talk so much about. So, yeah. And to a certain degree, this is definitely true. You can find it in nature. You can see that among most mammals, the males are dominant and the females are submissive. And also, you can see it if you observe human nature, where you can, for example, see that. Let me take an example. They did a survey recently in Norwegian, I think it was it was some school of higher education. I think it was a school developing engineers. Yeah, it was an engineering school. And they discussed, and they had a survey among the various people there. What position did they hope to achieve? And 80% of the female students said they did not want a leadership position. They wanted to do well in their job, be recognized as skillful, and combine it with a husband and children. While 80% of the boys said they did want a leadership position. But here's the point. Even if you can observe this in nature, observe that far more women than men are submissive and far more men than women have a leadership, wishes to be leaders. This isn't universal. There were that 20% of women who did want to be leaders, and there were that 20% of men that did not. Problem with how the natural order is presented within the Gore books is that it's presented as a very absolute thing. All women are this, all men are that, therefore all women should be submissive. But this isn't how nature works. I don't think you can find anything in nature that you can say all of X and or all of such and such are this and this way. So that there is where a lot of people go wrong. Usually, when you have a woman within the Gorean lifestyle who speak up, then she immediately gets hit over the head with natural order, natural order. And here's the problem with that. Those that say it like that, they have misunderstood it. Let me try to explain. First of all, if there's a natural order that needs to be enforced, then that isn't very natural. A natural order is how things will naturally be if you leave it up to, well, nature. So, you can definitely say that, for example, the Norwegian reaction to that survey, which were immediately, how can we get more women to want to be leaders? That is definitely against what the Goreans would say the natural order. However, it is equally against the natural order to say that if a woman isn't naturally submissive, she definitely should be because it's natural for her to do so. There's where the problem is. And you find it in the books as well, with, for example, in Dancer, where the main character is told that no, she destroy men because she is not submissive. She is um what, what does this word? She's a librarian. She's a librarian, and therefore she destroys men because she is not the submissive wife type. And here is where you have a problem with it. Now, do I believe there is a natural order? Yes, I do. And I believe that following said natural order will make the individual happier. However, I do not think that your standard natural order fits for every individual. So if you have a dominant woman, then nature has made her such, and she should follow what is natural for her, which in this case is to be dominant. And if you have a submissive man, he should follow what is natural to him. That is following the natural order. That is to be submissive. But one should also accept that we are not in when we look at statistics, we are not the same. You will find more men who are dominant, who wants to be leaders, who have that in them, than you will find women. And I feel that it is wrong to try to then beat society until we have 50-50 of everything, because we don't need that. We don't need to have 50% women in all boardrooms. We don't need to have 50% men as nurses in hospitals. We can accept that those women who are dominant, who wants to be leaders and so on, they are a minority. One should not then just say, go away, you are not valid, you should behave after this A4 sheet paper cut out definition of what a woman should be. And at the same, if you have a man who is naturally submissive, or he naturally wants to have a more female role, perhaps he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, doesn't need to be submissive for that, but he could have a more female-oriented way he wants to live his life. We should not just say, oh, go away, you aren't fitting into our little preconceived idea of reality. Instead, we should accept that for him, his nature is a little bit different. Because here's the thing. To me, I also put a lot more into the idea of natural order. Natural order is basically following nature. And nature is more than gender roles. So, yeah, I do feel that in our society today we have gotten too far. We are so busy wanting everything to be equal that we forget to be human beings. I mean that if a woman can do as good a job as a man at a profession and she wants to have that profession, it shouldn't stop her that she has boobs. The same way, if a man can do as good as a woman in a typical female profession, it shouldn't stop him that he has a penis. However, it shouldn't be a goal in and of itself that we'll have 50-50 in all professions. There is where I think we have a problem. And I also think we have a problem with the very feminification of men. For example, there was this, I was reading the newspaper here the other day, and there was this big news that everybody was so happy with, that little boys in kindergartens, that there was a lot of kindergartens that were trying to get boys to, well, behave more like little girls. And it was so amazing that they were making that happen. I don't think that's amazing. I'm not of the type that say a boy can't cry because there's nothing wrong with a man showing feelings. And there's nothing wrong with little boys playing with dolls or anything like that. But this idea that it's a goal in and of itself to try to get men and women to not be your typical, to basically not have typical male or female behavior patterns, but to be a grey mass of equalness that I have a problem with. Now there's a lot of people that won't fit into these molds. Like I said, dominant females and submissive men. You also have people who have different gender identities. You have people for whatever reason don't fit into the mold. And I feel that then that's the and following nature for them is to be true to themselves and not necessarily fit into the mold. So I guess what I'm saying here is I have a beef both with your typical Gorean way of thinking and with mainstream society on this. Because on one hand, the Goreans are wrong because they feel that the natural order is something that has to be enforced. You have to somehow keep women down or the natural order will fall apart. Of course, not all Goreans think like this, but enough do. And that is very wrong. Because if there is a natural order, then if you don't have outside influences, this is how things will naturally fall. And if things don't fall that naturally, then that was not the natural order. At the same time, I have a problem with mainstream society to try to push so much for equality. I mean, I'm very happy that I can vote, that I can have a job, and all of those things. I am very thankful for that. At the same time, I feel that it has gone too far the other direction. I feel that the goal has to be that a woman can have the option to be a firefighter or a doctor or whatever profession she desires. If she so desires, it shouldn't be an option in and of basically a goal in and of itself that as many women as possible go step away from traditional female roles. It's like this. My teacher was my teacher within occultism was at a party and sat listening to a group of girls talking. And one of them said that what she wanted to do with her life was to be a wife and a mother, a stay-at-home wife. And the others just turned on her and called her weak and all the negative words in the book that she would want something like that. And that is wrong. I mean, it's equally wrong to say that if you have a woman who really, for example, wants to be a soldier and she can do it, she has the physical powers to do so. To say that no, you can't do it because it doesn't fit with my image of reality. Basically, equal rights. That's a good thing to fight for. Equal equality in itself isn't. Because here's the point equality means same as. It's not a goal for men and women to be the same. What you want is equal rights, both to protect both genders and make them equal parts in society. Not that they have equal roles, but that I have they're as valued in society. But also to make sure that if you want to do something outside of the norm, you can do that. However, it isn't a goal, it shouldn't at least be a goal in and of itself to make people uh, not have any gender roles or have the opposite gender role of what would be typical of their sex. So, I think that a lot of Goreans have a very limited view of the natural order. They only see it as, oh, women submissive, men dominant, end of story, this is true for everybody. because that's what the books say. But like I've said many times before, when it comes to Gorean topics, we can take inspiration from the books. However, at the end of the day, they are fiction books, meaning that while we can take inspiration from them, we can't just simply copy them. We can't just simply parrot quotes, because we have to look at, does this fit with reality? And if it doesn't fit with reality, then reality has to win out, not the fiction. So, do I agree with the Gorean view of natural order? Yes. But I don't think it's the only view, or rather, I believe there's more to it. I believe that is the natural norm. But I do not believe that everybody does conform to the natural norm, or should conform the natural norm. So yeah, that is what I wanted to say. Have a great day. Blessed be.